Welcome back to Football Coach, episode number 10. One of our three coaches has progressed another level, now level 13 for the offensive coordinator. Training and recruiting are obviously the areas where we need the most, and the recruiting side is his weaker point, so we're going to bring that up to level 3. Woohoo! So we've got team locks on two of our coaches. I'm thinking about seeing if we can get a longer term deal for the offensive coordinator at a somewhat discounted rate. And let's see if that is a possibility. Yeah, we do have a $250K deal. We could save $50,000 on a 4-year deal with a team lock for 2 years. Sounds good. But again, I love the idea. As bad as we are, and I know that hiring better coaches could get us further, faster, as bad as we are, I love the idea of taking these weak-ass coaches and making them good, just as much as the program needs it. 9 coach retirements this year, and there's definitely some quality in and amongst the group. And 7 pages worth of 15 plus, so a lot of coaching changes throughout the league, but none for us. 5 of the 680 plus players that we had on roster are graduating, so that's still an issue, still something we are trying to overcome. But while this senior class was definitely larger, there's a fair number of the guys, the bottom 5, 6, 7 of them that were not key, that already had better players that were younger than them, behind them in classes. It's going to give us a chance to actually get a little bit better this year, but we're going to need a lot more of these 80 plus players for us to start getting competitive. In the players remaining category, our star average is inching higher and higher, even though we're finding good 2 stars. Yeah, but you can see though in that current what we have taking over. Yeah, it's not great, but we will get that off-season development, and of course recruitment is still not yet done. We have 2 players at an 80 plus left over, just a single 79, so the drop off is pretty serious actually. But look, offensive line, 3 of our 4 best players now on offense. We're starting to get somewhere in at least some of the positions. And while the junior class is obviously good and the better, stronger of the classes waiting in the wings, right now the sophomore class has some talented players, wide receivers in particular, that are stronger than the guys class ahead of them. A running back that's at a sophomore, that's pretty good. Redshirt freshman quarterback who's going to be taking over and should be as good as the quarterback we had a year ago with development. Fingers crossed he gets a good year for development anyway. Kicker's going to be a big drop-off, though. D-line definitely is a little on the weak side for what we have. Well, we do have Herbert to 74. At this moment, with already a lot of players brought in the recruiting class, we're already back up to 76 scholarships with 15 incoming recruits. So we have 9 more slots available. But we do have 2 guys transferring out, or wanting to transfer out. We'll see what we can do about it. But one of them is super important. This is our quarterback. Hopefully it's just guaranteed playing time, because I intend on giving it to him if that's all it is. If he's heading out for other reasons, we might be in a bit of trouble. But we've got a redshirt freshman, good overall. I don't want to lose either one of these guys. Hopefully it's, number of targets and playing time, and we're able to retain both of them, because I don't want to see those guys going out. Nice. In both cases, it's a wants playing time, so I think we're going to be okay. We're going to be able to hang on to those guys. 225 total pass and or rush attempts. Should be easy for a guy who's going to be our number 1 quarterback. We need 50% of snaps for the other wide receiver, and as a redshirt freshman, I definitely want to offer that. We want to hang on to him. We'll have to keep an eye on whether he gets that currently 4th on the depth chart, or whether we're going to need to do more to hang on to him. I mean, the other guys are a little bit older, but none of them are seniors, so they're not outgoing. And the guys just behind him are far enough behind that he should still be at least 4th, but with higher potential, it's going to be hard for him to move up from the spot he's in. But I would think he should be able to get 50% of the snaps. We'll have to just keep an eye, see where he's at. But that's a good high school pickup there. And then looking down the list, there might be a guy here to drop. And I think I'm actively recruiting another wide receiver, so we might want to cut this. So promises made to both players. They are not leaving. Of course, coach integrity on the line for those. but I am cutting 4 guys, so that'll use 1 coach integrity. We did acquire 5 this year, so we're actually doing a little bit better in that department. We'll be +4 this time around. But these are the 4 guys being cut. We've got a redshirt junior tight end who's a D- potential. We've got C- or lower for the potential on all, mid-60s for these guys at tight end. Like, none of them played a game this last year. They're all far enough down the depth chart and have a lot more quality just behind them, a lot more potential. Well, not more quality, right? It's just behind them, but it's close, and then a lot more potential. And most of them are younger, though we do have a couple of redshirt freshmen and a redshirt sophomore. The redshirt sophomore is not one I brought in. It's a 1-star guy. But this is 2 of my recruits that I brought in that first class that just weren't good enough. Those were a couple of those early signings. It's like, oh, they're 3 stars. They must be good. Then we quickly realized that, no, plenty of the 3-star guys are really just not good. But that's going to leave me with 7 scholarship offers. I have 8 specific positions or scenarios, whether it be transfer guys or high school guys, that I need to fill, and then I can get 3 additional at virtually any position based on what's the best we can find out there. Number 1 pick of the draft this year was an A+ potential 100 overall player. We didn't have any last year, so we're back to it this year. Things seems like kind of across the board in the database. It took that big step back. There was a lot of seniors in that first class, so that second class just didn't quite do as well, but we seem to be rebounding with the third class, so the arc that we've followed seems to be kind of followed league-wide. But while we've stopped all of our players from entering the transfer portal, that hasn't stopped others. We've got 37 pages, aka about 370 players entering the transfer portal. And last year we did really well picking up a few from there. We'll look to do the same again. 3 Hall of Fame inductees, 7 for the Ring of Honor. And as I predicted, year 3 was a good year for us. We had a lot of records. For one thing, player records, of course, is a bit of a factor, as you had a lot of guys that have now played 3 seasons, or a number of guys that at least have been here for 2 years, eclipsing what others have done. Colin Muhammad has been the quarterback for 2 years now, out of the 3, so he's holding most of the records at the position. But single season record updates. Muhammad had 12 interceptions this season and did not set a record for touchdowns, so that very much is still a year 1. We had, 9-9 in year 1. This was not a great year at the position, but he was quite a bit weaker than the quarterback we had, and he was a senior, so we are very much moving into that new era of a redshirt sophomore taking over. I like that we're going to get 3 years with him, though. We can grow with him, and he should be pretty good by his senior year, and really by his junior year. I think he should be matching what we had for our first year of this playthrough. Over 500 yards receiving, over 200 rushing attempts. Bradford had 666 yards on the return, kick returning. They use the same guy, whether it's kick or punt return, by the way. Muhammad had 40 pass attempts in one game, and also threw 3 interceptions in one game, and had 6 sacks in one game. That makes it really hard to get the ball downfield and score very often when you are getting sacked once every other drive. But we did set a few team records this season. Rushing yards per game, we nearly made it to 100 as a team. We almost got 1,200 yards as a team. But the turnovers was pretty bad this year with 23 of them. So right about 2 a game. Defensively, though, it actually ended up being a bad year. We gave up more yardage, or is that our best year? I think that's probably not our best year. I'm guessing year 1 was our... Well, maybe not. Year 1 was a pretty bad defense. It was just the offense kept the defense off the field a little bit more often. That was part of the problem we had with year 2, was the defense wasn't terrible. It was just they were on the field all game long because the offense was 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, which is why they didn't commit very many turnovers. They were so bad that they would just have to punt almost immediately. This year, the offense moved the ball more, and as a result, it helped the defense out just a little bit, but it also led to a lot more turnovers because there was more opportunities to give it away. But as much as we gave away 23 turnovers, we did force 13. We were only a minus 10. That's not too bad. That's roughly minus 1 a game. But we did have our best offensive production ever in a game. We did have our best rushing yards in a game. And then we also had our most turnovers in a game. But we forced the most turnovers we ever had in a game as well, and held the defense to 156 for the first time. For the first time, we averaged less than 100. We gave up 156, and that was our record. we're not on par with our opponents. We got 3 off-season recruiting sessions. I've already done the first. I'm now on to the second. Here's the process of how I'm going through this. First off, we still have our 10 scouting, so I'm not giving up 100% on high school just in case we find somebody who's got that A+ type potential, but otherwise we're pretty much ignoring most of them. So the first thing I do is I'm going to use those scouting points. It takes 2, so basically we're taking a look at 5 more guys each time that we don't have potential on. So I've got to filter first by high school and no offers. I don't want to compete. We're coming in late trying to find anybody who's been unrecruited. And yes, we're finding B- guys. Some of them are targeted, some of them are not. For the first off-season recruiting session, I found 1 new addition this way. So our 14 on the short list became 15. This is the guy we located last time, so he was a 68 overall with B+ potential as a wide receiver. I added him to the list. You compare him to the others, and then we can decide whether to hang on to him or not. But this scouting process gives us that chance to find that diamond in the rough. Might as well use it while we have it. There's a B- D lineman. Maybe. Not sure that's going to be good enough, but we'll give him a chance. In the comparison page, there's a B- linebacker who's a 58. But then I'm going position by position. You can't look at the big picture because some positions, there's a smaller set of skills that you need to be successful at the position, so their ratings can be a lot higher. There's other positions that you need speed, strength, you need to be elusive, you need to be able to tackle, you need to be able to cover zone, you need to cover man, there's so many skills necessary, like a tight end, right? They've got to be able to block and run routes and catch the ball. But like all of the above becomes necessary, and so as a result the ratings plummet. they come down a lot, and so it's not necessarily that they're bad. You really have to take position by position as you play this game. That was definitely one of those things we learned by the end of that first season. But like, say, looking at this wide receiving core, there was 4 high school players with good potential that were pretty decent overall that were still on that radar, and I'm pretty open on my need for 1 more wide receiver in this pool. None of those guys have offers, so I started looking at transfer market. I wanted to see if there was something good in the transfer market, and I found 2 guys that were good in the transfer market that were young, a redshirt freshman and a true freshman, that had high potential and good overall ability. But what I'm doing here now, following that first off-season session, is going, well, hold on, Virginia's going to take this guy. There's no way we are going to beat them to get his name. He's going to pick them over us. So we're taking him off the list. And we're not going to beat Duke. And we figured this out last time, right? They just played in the national semifinal, North Carolina State. So we're not going to beat them for the signing of this guy. It's not going to happen. So I suck it up and move on, right? That first session is get your name in on the list, get on their radar, and see who's still out there. And it's going to free up a lot, because it was just that first session. Guys start to give offers. It's going to free up a lot, but there are going to be some leftovers. And that's where we picked up a few last season, right? There is going to be competition for some of those names, and we're definitely not going to get them all, but it's the path. It's the place you go. But by saving the offers really until the final week, the offers don't make a significant difference until the very, very end. And we're going to have a lot of offers. We've got 33 chances to go out and sign somebody with 11 scholarships. So it's going to be prioritization on getting that list in the right order after that last session. But I'm really trying to take a different angle and pick up the pieces, pick up the scraps at the end on what's left over, but especially paying attention to what's going to help us get better. And one of these guys will, but it's hard to decide which one to go after. And I've been waiting a long time on some of them in particular, waiting to see if there's other offers coming along. This is the weakest guy in the bunch, but it's the only guy that has no competition at all. That's not to say that these guys, I mean, they've been going after. This one's probably going to be okay. This 68B plus, that's probably going to be our top target. But I've got to reorder things and sort all that out. And that's probably who we're going to go after. But I'll get back into that recruiting page, look at those transfers, and see if there's others untargeted and get them back on the list as I thin this out and then refill it to 40 again. Second round of offers came in and really wiped us out. There was very little left. Our chances of picking up some transfers right now is looking pretty minimal. And as I went back through the list for the third and final session, there aren't players. There was 13 players without an offer, and none of them had potential or quality. They were all not worthy transfers of picking up. So then going back in, okay, well, maybe there's somebody that has one offer. It's not a strong offer. Maybe we have a chance. I picked up, I think, 4, and I'm not even sure I'll extend the offer. I'll have to go back in, make the comparisons, make my final, who are we going to give offers to? Because right now, 28 recruits, we have plenty. I mean, we have 27 chances to give an offer right now. So we could just about offer everybody on the list. So there is a chance there. There is a chance we can go after all. But I'm taking one last-ditch effort to use our scouting points and look at the junior college guys this time, trying to see if there's anybody out there that has quality and a decent amount of potential. And this just came up. 64 overall is not great, but it's tight end, so you start lower. And with a potential junior college transfer that has no offer, I think that's one we're definitely going to give an offer to. So that's a nice little pickup there, hanging out, hiding in the woodwork. So pretty happy on that one. I only have one scouting point left. I'm going to need somebody that we would have a % on already. And there is one here. So we'll take a look at this one. Cornerback D. No. Moment of truth before signing day. So I have 8 locked in positions: a running back, 2 offensive linemen, a kicker, 2 defensive linemen, a linebacker, and a wide receiver that I still need to fill. I have 11 scholarships in total. So after that, for the final 3 scholarships, I have a battle it out on what's left over between 3 out of these, 6 total players. I have a tight end, a cornerback, a third quarterback, but we're talking about A+ potential. It's a freshman transfer. It's hard to turn that one down. It's really hard to turn that one down, but we're probably not going to get him. We're actually second on his list, but just in case, it's hard to say no to an A+ potential quarterback, even if he's in the low 60s right now. And then I have 2 more running backs because we definitely have a need at running back. It says I need 4. Right now I only have 1 side. Getting that second one still leaves me too short of where I should be, so I've left myself open on the limit to 2 running backs. I've got the first one very high up the list. I've got the second one and the third. I have 3 on my list left. The second and third one are down near the bottom. One more likely to get picked up in that 3 spots at the bottom, and then one more to get picked up. If for some reason we miss those first 2 guys, he'd be just about at the end of the list. And then a safety who is last on the list if all else fails, if we kind of miss out on a position somewhere somehow. I'm down to just 25 targets, but it is what it is. I'm down to 40 offers, but it is what it is. I can go out there, and there's no one left that doesn't have offers already, which we wouldn't compete with those guys that do have the offers. There's nobody left that has no offer that we actually would want to sign. We are, for the first time, not in the desperation mode of we need to fill more spots and we can't fill them, and oh no, we've got to take somebody who's on quality and on potential. No, we are very, very precisely this season looking for potential. All of the 15 signings already have a B or better potential. All of them. That's crazy. And almost the entire group right now of 25 targets, almost all of them have that. And then there's just a few out of this 25 that are, well, hold on, wait, no, they have quality, but not really much potential, but they're young enough that they can step in to a position. There's one recruit in here that I'm crazy excited for, and he does have other offers, but he wants to play for us, and I think we might actually sign him. But we need to find out. Do we sign any of them? All of them? I think I'm going to have, for the first time, more yeses than spots available. A moment of truth. Right. 15% chance. Okay. My excitement guy. It's looking like it's not going to happen. Not going to happen. By the numbers, we had a pretty healthy lead over everybody else. He wanted to play for us. We were number one on his list day one. And I had him on, and we've been recruiting him, and we threw in an NIL. So unless they went insane with their NIL, I don't see how they could have possibly jumped us, because we actually, for a change, had the right setup. He wanted the stadium atmosphere, he wanted an NIL deal, and he wanted to play. And we offered all of those things. And he's loyal, and only a redshirt freshman, and a 5-star defensive lineman. Now it says we have a 15% chance, and that Arizona State is the most likely by far. We were 700 points ahead, and then I added the NIL, and that was after Arizona State already had an NIL in place, and we were quite a bit above his NIL. So fingers crossed that the odds makers are just looking at prestige going, oh, no, he's going to go to Arizona State because he is going to play for us. A redshirt freshman, 71 overall, A- potential D lineman, massive pickup, and he has a loyalty trait. I don't know how he got available with a loyalty trait and those type of ratings, unless Penn State literally cut him, because he just, like a 71 overall, is just not going to be good enough for them. I don't know. Or he literally was looking at, like, I'm behind a 100 overall guy and a 98 overall guy and a 97 overall guy. Gosh, I'm never going to play. That's got to be the only way that could have possibly happened. But we're looking at 3 years with a guy who will be straight into the starting lineup and could be our best player by his junior year. 67 points was the difference in the end, though. 67 points. That's how close it came. So the estimates had to have been off, for one thing, because I added a good 700 or 800 points in value this last week when I added in the NIL. That means we are going to spend an NIL on this guy. Pretty sure we've talked about what an NIL is, but it's name, image, likeness. That's the big court case that was like, these are student athletes. They're there for free. And, oh, wait, the colleges are making all this money. Oh, they make a ton of money. They're not getting paid. There's video games out there with their likeness, their names, attributes that should match them. So huge lawsuit came out, shut it down, and then they came up with, well, they can get paid, sort of. It's not a salary, but they get these deals. And a lot of these deals come from the boosters. That's where the finances part at least come. But it's nice to get it out there, because, I mean, it's been going on for a lot longer. You know, Reggie Bush and others getting busted for getting free cars and things under the table. At least it's now above board. I like that it's above board. It's not a perfect system. I think there's a much better system. I think just properly pay these guys, and then, yeah, they allow them to have TV deals, allow them to have YouTube channels, be on social media and make money. Why not? Why not? I worked through college. I worked through, go to this college. Nothing else matters. This is already the best class we've ever had, with the biggest signing we've ever had. It's a 5-star guy. There's a potential 4-star guy down here too, but we apparently are way behind South Florida. Let's get that one out of the way. We were too far behind. In fact, a lot further behind than I thought we were. That was a last-ditch effort. It was the only offer that was in there. I didn't figure we were going to get him, but it looks like this one as well. And Tulsa barely had points. I don't see how it's a 100% versus under 5. They were the only ones that had an offer in early, so these 3 offers all came in late, but they didn't have a high score value. They get him anyway, though, and it was definitely not an insane difference, and we were second closest, but no, not to us. All right, here's the last one we've got a big proper battle for. This is a true freshman coming out of Hawaii. Hopefully we'll be able to pick up a red shirt from the year he just had, so he'll come to us as a red shirt freshman, and this is about the potential. The overall, not bad, because we're looking at mid-50s for O-linemen currently, but Tulane already had an offer in, so we came in a little bit late trying to compete with them, and we got close, but not close enough. So we are missing a few of these tougher go-afters. There's going to be a lot easier ones, including a D lineman where we're the only offer. And there's our first offensive lineman and our first case of going after somebody who doesn't have the potential but has the quality. Not quite this quality and lack of potential. It's a definite proper lack of potential, but at a 70 overall, it's enough to get him into playing time. Not first 5, but definitely playing time. And we had some seniors outgoing that we needed to replace, and we needed to get somebody in who could give us that. So I'm taking 1. With 2 more quick automatic signings, we're now at 5 of the 8 spots that we needed to fill. So we've got a D lineman and then a high school D lineman with some potential. And then we got an offensive lineman who could step in and contribute, and an offensive lineman for the future high school with potential. And then we have picked up the 5th one being a wide receiver who's a little bit of both. He could almost contribute right away, but definitely has high potential. So that's a pretty solid. I think that's better than the wide receiver group that we had the last couple of years. So for the 3 core positions that remain, I still need my first running back of potentially 2. I need a kicker and a linebacker as we start heading down the list. First off, here is our at least first couple of kickers. We got a redshirt freshman, but 82 overall with potential, and it looks like he did get an offer from Stanford, but it's not even Stanford he's going to, it's Cal he picks up. So we don't get our favorite target here, but our secondary target, true freshman with high potential. And it looks like we've got a decent shot on this one. Colorado was the only offer, and Colorado was ahead of us. We were second on his list going into the final week. The others had not given an offer. They say we have a 40% chance, and we got him. Okay, that's a much better pickup than what the other one, who was also going to be a freshman transfer. We could not get any of the high school guys. We finally have a kicker. We've finally brought in a kicker for the first time, and as long as he didn't play this last year, he did not play 0 games. So he will come in as a redshirt freshman, and that's helpful. We needed that. And that explains a lot to me, because I know that on my list, my next kicker was the next guy down the list. I had 3 kickers back to back to back in order, knowing that I would only take 1, and the other one's not here. Why is he not here? Because he's suddenly not on the list. Instead of 25, we're going to see probably less than 25, I would imagine, or something at the end that shows no space. So I'm only accepting 1, and there's our 1. In the end, I ended up on a single linebacker target for that 1 spot, and it's a potential guy with not great current ability. This is one of the weakest players in the class, but it was bare bones at linebacker, but at least he is loyal, and without competition, that was an easy pickup. Now I could see a lot of other guys were missing off of that list too after a position is locked out, after we've had yeses. But this brings me down to that final grouping. I have yet to sign the first of 2 running backs that I am allowed, as we didn't get the top target. And then that brings us into the bottom 3, where the running back would be coming in down here. I did put him 4th. Oh, but no. We're still guaranteed 1 running back at 4 because, right, we've only picked up 7 of 11 so far. So there's still 4 available to us. So quick reveal. Obviously, we're going to pick this guy up. It's an A potential tight end. Okay, it's junior college. This year was the first year we even had a tight end over a 70. And finding potential has been incredibly hard. He was the number 5 tight end in the class. It's a great pickup. I couldn't believe that he hadn't been given an offer. We are going to pick up the quarterback, the extra quarterback, B+ potential. The quarterback, this is the last one, and it looks like we're probably not going to get him because it goes on to an next page. There's got to be somebody more, right? So Hawaii went all in, and I kind of realized they did. I went bare bones. I gave him a small NIL offer going, hey, it could give me just enough of a boost to just get ahead of them if they don't go all in on this guy, but they're probably going to go. I already had 2 quarterbacks. It's just A+ and a 67. It was hard to say no. Hard to say no to that one. And it's hard to let him go to our rival. But that means the first running back is ours, B potential on that one. And our last one is the safety. So we're not going to get the bonus running back, second running back, but we are going to get the bonus safety who I had at the end of the list with high potential. So looking down the recruiting class, full recruiting class, we had to cut guys off at the end. We got our maximum 25, and I think all but 1 have a B potential or greater. Yeah, there's our one, our junior college guy with low potential who can come in and contribute right away, just not develop much. Yeah, that is different. Last year we had 5 guys with B potential. The year before we had maybe 4. This is a full class. Let's look at those rankings. You add in a 5-star guy, we're going to be pretty high up this list. It's still 75th because the transfer doesn't count. So we got 13 3 stars, 10 2 stars, and 3 transfers. Nice thing about finally hitting that 0 is it's all uphill from here, but we're going to have to get to 70th in the rankings to start making gains in prestige. At the moment, we would see our facility level drop because it's going to take investment to maintain. You can see the academics is the one that would come down a level. So right now we're at $32 million for the earnings. Of course, we lost that $1 million when we saw our donor go from a silver to a bronze. But we do get the Alabama payment, $13.5 million. But we have 3 years worth of deals, and all 3 of them are scheduled. So I could push one of those back a year and try to get another deal in for next year, or suck it up, wait, and next year have a big payout. I think I'm going to take the big payout next year. I might as well. But that's $32 million for the year. So in the end, NIL, we didn't spend much. $550K. We will get that brought back to maximum, resolve the debt on the coaches, and suddenly we've got just about $30 million left for facilities. But we're going to have to at least spend to maintain. And after covering $6 million in maintenance costs for the facilities and the academics, we find ourselves still with almost $24 million. And I think that's going to be enough to get us to the next level quite easily, actually. So level 6 would give us a D+ for the facilities for recruiting, 7% bonus to player development in the offseason, still a base gain of 1 for the preseason trainings, though. I'm not sure where that's going to finally get to 2. Really shocked that it hasn't gotten there yet. I mean, it can only go up to 12. It can only go so high. We can't get it much higher. Yeah, that's surprising that we haven't hit a base of 2. maybe that'll finally happen on level 7. I figured a few levels be enough to get to a base of 2, and then after a few more you get to a base of 3, and at max you can get a base of 4. I don't know. Guess not. The scout percent for recruit camp visits, also, you want to get that one more. I would love to get this to a 2, and I would love to get this over that 30%, so we don't have to bother with the scouting. But just having them on the short list and a recruit camp, that already gives you that 30. So it's pretty easy now on getting players through one recruit camp where you need to see their potential. So last year I stored away $1 million for the coaching staff balance. I like getting ahead on that and not having it be a debt. I'd like to bank some money for that. So the $1 million puts us back where we were, and a few $100,000 puts us further ahead. It gives us a balance of 1.3 for next year, and then next year I'll try to get that up that little higher, maybe 1.5, 1.7. We'll see. We'll have a little less cash next year, but getting ahead on your payments makes a difference, at least in my mind. Sets you up for what you need to do eventually. From there, though, $6.5 million, we might as well dump it all in towards that next level. I think facilities got to be close. We've got to be close to getting the base gain for preseason up to a 2. I think that would really help. And at the same time, development and off-season and recruiting all matters. So we're going to go for the maximum available. That's going to give us one more facility level overall, and that's up to a 20. We're finally into the 20s. Everybody else is in the high 20s or significantly higher. That gap closes yet again, but this is a grind. This is a real grind. Other similar sports titles, like by now we would be winning a lot of games. No change in the boosters this year. Looks like LSU is unavailable for the contract. We have a decade to finish it anyway, so we've got plenty of time to get in there. Let's go ahead and get a payout for the year. We're going to take Penn State. Looks like Penn State is the obvious pickup. Like, for now, it's all about the finances. All about that. An easy non-conference game is not going to help us in any way. Even if we win it, what's that going to do? Yay, we got a win! I want to get a win. I think we're due. Year 4, like, I'm at that. I'm ready to see us win a game. But, 1-11. We could beat Hawaii. We could beat Oregon State. Like, we've got some weaker teams in conference that are beatable. I don't need to stack my conference with some 1-star. I think that's Rutgers. Right? Rutgers? Anyway, we don't need to add some 1-star guys that, there is no payout just so we've got a chance to win a couple of football games. No. I need the $12 million. So Penn State's next on that list. The strongest positional shift that we are making has got to be at safety. Here we have only 2 guys with better than a 70 rating, and they have D potential, and they're both seniors. We then, behind them in the depth chart, have 3 guys that are C or D potential, with a redshirt freshman who we brought in a year ago being like the best we could muster, who's right now a 66 C potential guy. This year, 3 true freshmen, 63 or 64 rating with a B+ or an A-. That's the direction we're headed. These guys are going to be better than every single one of them in due time. With development alone, they'll catch up and pass these 2 almost immediately. They'll overtake this guy soon enough, and not this year, but probably by next year, and they'll be the top of the depth chart, especially with 2 seniors outgoing. Those guys will be competing for the starting job next year as redshirt freshmen. That's going to help. That is absolutely going to help their development. It's going to help our program. Off-season gains, this is where we're going to leave this episode at, with a +6 right at the top. We now have an 86 overall. Senior linebacker, big improvement to his defensive IQ and block shedding, zone coverage as well. Really kind of across-the-board gains for him. But with 8 players currently at an 80 or better overall, And there's going to be guys that are just behind that with the training, preseason training. We might just be able to get them up to an 80 as well. If we can get that up to about 10, this easily becomes the best roster we've had. Now, year one, yeah, we had a guy who was a 90, right? But our second guy was an 85, and our third guy was like an 81, and then we quickly were outside of the 80s. We had a lot of high 70s, all seniors. Year two, we had like 2 players on the roster who were an 80 plus. Year 3, we had, in the end, we got up to, I think, 6. This clearly is going to be our strongest year yet. Best chance at a victory so far. We got a +9 in this defensive lineman, who is a senior now, but wow, that's phenomenal. +6s. We've got some good rating changes. +7 here for this offensive lineman. A lot of seniors, though, getting a big jump heading into that senior year. Sad that our starting running back only gained 1 point. He's now a 77. That's potentially a problem. Our guys with promises did not make much for gains. Either one of them. Wide receiver becomes a 76 overall. He gains potential, but doesn't gain quality. And really, our quarterback too did not improve that much. The guy who would have been our starting kicker had we not been able to get that signing right there at the end is the first player to have had no gains whatsoever. I mean, we've got guys with no potential still making gains, still picking up a couple points. Here's a +7 for a freshman safety. That was the safety we brought in. That was the last signing. That was the 25th guy, and he's already a 71 overall. As a true freshman, he might be in the mix there. We'll have to look at the depth chart and see if we want him to play or sit. The high school offensive lineman that I picked, I am so grateful. He's got a +10. Still a true freshman. He's jumped from a 55 to a 65 overall and maintained his B potential. And like last season, just 2 players come out of this with a less than 60 rating overall, where we had a lot of them in season 1 and in season 2. So we've picked up the bottom end of the roster, and now we're starting to pick up the top end of the roster. This is looking like the best squad we've ever had at this stage, heading into season number 4 with, fingers crossed, a chance to finally win a football game. I don't know. We've got a crazy tough schedule. Last year it was 6th in the nation for strength of schedule, mostly just because we don't play in the hardest of conferences, but we play ranked opponents week after week after week after week, and with our 3 non-conference games being incredibly tough as well, we've got a very hard strength of schedule. But that doesn't mean there's not a few chances to go out and actually win a football game. We've got to take advantage of those moments. This year, fingers crossed, we could actually have a close game and maybe steal one of those. Who knows? Maybe we'll finally have an 80 overall in one of our ratings. We'll find out soon enough. I'm pretty happy with the development across the board. Disappointing to see ones like this. You got a B+ potential and you gain 1 point, but there's a lot of gains here. Yeah, a single 10, a single 9, couple 7s, a few 6s, and a lot of 5s. Year 1, we had 1 5, and then it went to 4s. So we are definitely seeing the benefit of the facilities that we've been investing in. It's starting to show. And that development continues. Freshmen. There's another freshman right here. These guys are going to be with us for a while, and they're going to be impact players early. This was good. But that's going to do it for this episode. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.